And then today we're talking about what's in my carry bag for 2024.
Let's fucking go!
Man, it's been a long time since I said that. It's been like 2.5 years, I think, at this point. I think the last time I did a what's in my camera bag video was back in March of 2022, I believe, right? Or 2021? Or was it 3 years now? It's one or the other. I definitely probably put a thumbnail of the last one we did. But yeah, it's been some time since I've done it. Usually I typically do this around March or so at the beginning of the year, but now we're in the end of August, so it's been like 2.5, maybe 3.5 years since I've done a what's in my camera video. But a lot of things, a decent amount of things have changed. Got a lot of plethora of gear, as you can see off camera to the left here, off to my left side, or to the right of on your screen here. But yeah, it's been some time now. We're gonna go over what's in my camera bag. At the time of you watching this, the day of that I'm recording this is the day before that I'm second shooting at one of my first weddings. I'm gonna be shooting for. I'm gonna be the second shooter, so I'm not gonna be the lead photographer for. Thank God, because that's stressful in itself. I'm gonna just be on the sidelines, capturing extra photographs that the typical lead photographer is not gonna be getting. But I guess it'd just be a perfect time to go over all the gear. Like I said, a lot of things has changed. A lot of things are still here, but a lot of gear has changed, and we're probably going to go over what the uses cases for. Probably gonna have some flashes, some of the pictures I took over the course of the last years that I had them. And yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Enjoy the video, and then all in the description gonna be linked to everything that I mentioned. Most of everything that I mentioned. It's gonna be some of the searches I'm gonna gloss over, but we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna go over there. We're gonna spirit some gas together. We're gonna spirit some gases together, and then we're gonna have some good time. So, what's in my camera bag 2024? That's how I'm gonna do it. Right out the gate, I guess we can start off with the camera bag itself. This is the Peter McKinnon Everyday Camera Bag. I believe it's the 25-liter version. I've had this since October of 2023, so it's coming up on a year now. I think we're just 2 months shy of a year of just 2 months shy of being a year of having it. And yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's 25 liters, so it's the perfect size where it's not too big, it's not too small, it's just right. Shout out to Goldilocks. But yeah, it holds all the gear that I need. It's gonna hold all the gear that I need for the event tomorrow. It's supposed to be damn near all day from basically 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. essentially. I'm probably gonna be doing most of the day, probably not the whole time, but I know the lead photographer is gonna be having his hands full the entirety of the day. But yeah, it holds all the gear that I need, from the accessories, the multiple camera bodies, to all the lenses that comes with it. It definitely holds all the gear that I have. This plethora of videos. This camera bag been out for several years now, so there's plethora of camera views, camera videos, review channels. I've done reviews of the camera bag, so I'm not going too much into it. You probably heard it 1,000 times, but that's my camera bag of choice. Moving on to the first primary camera bag. This is my Canon EOS R6. I've had this for just over 2 years now. Got it in June of 2022. It's about halfway, actually, in terms of its life cycle, because the sequel came out in the fall of 2022, so it's kind of depressing that the fact that I got it just before the release of its successor in the Canon EOS R6 Mark II. But that's the predecessor. That's the first version. I've had it for, like I said, just over 2 years now. It does everything I needed, but I need more. I'm starting to look at other camera manufacturers at this point. But if I want to stay in Canon, I'm probably going to either get the EOS R6 Mark II or go big boy and get the R3. I'm kind of deciding there which one I want to write off, whether I want to put an expenditure for the R3 or just go ahead and just trade in the R6 for a Mark II. It just depending on how much money I want to give up. But I know it's definitely going to come to time, because it's just the R6 has a lot of decent amount of limitations, especially on the video side. As I'm making videos like this, definitely the overheating is a major thing. And obviously there's a lot of like the mechanics of the body, like the dials is different from the R5 Mark II has the R6 dials with the photo and video mode, is quickly switching over between those. Those are the small things that I typically need over the more of the regular R6. So as of right now, it's the R6, but give you a heads up, might eventually upgrade to a Mark II or R3. The R1, it's too much for me. The R5 Mark II, once again, too much for me. So like the R3, or if I want to go big boy, R3, or if I want to be on the low side, the R6 Mark II. My second body of choice is the Canon EOS RP. I've had this coming up on 4 years now. It'll be 4 years in December of this year. I've had this body for ever since I got the R6 Mark II. Obviously, this has been my secondary body, but it gets the job done. It does have 4K, but that 4K is cropped to hell. So we stay away from the 4K, but the 1080p is definitely good enough to get the job done. And obviously the photo size is going to be plenty for wherever anyone needs. Both of these cameras has plenty of reviews, so I'm not going into too much detail with them. But that's my camera body. It's the Canon EOS R6, the primary, which will eventually get upgraded soon, and then that has the Canon EOS RP as my backup. So now we're gonna go over the lenses. I think we will probably go over from the widest to one of the most telephoto. Starting off, we got the Sigma 35mm 1.4. I've had this lens for I think 3 years now. Thoroughly enjoy this lens. It's a Sigma lens, the EF version. Almost all my lenses are EF. It's like mostly EF. The most reason why I still have some EF lenses because the camera that I'm recording on right now is the Blackmagic 6K Pro. Do a video on that, the whole camera rig that's set up on there. But I still have some EF lenses. I do have some RF lenses. We'll definitely go over that. But the Sigma 35mm f1.4, thoroughly enjoy this. This is an old lens. I got mostly all Sigma lenses. These are all old Sigma lenses that I have from EF versions. Sigma are just now coming out with RF glasses, but it's only been APS-C so far. But the 35mm 1.4 is a nice hybrid between wide and semi-telephoto. It's like that nice in between for the 24mm and the 50mm. So we get a nice shallow depth of field from the 1.4, get a little bit of the environment because it's 35mm, so it's a nice little in between. But my personal baby, is the Sigma 50mm 1.4. 50mm is my favorite focal length. It's the perfect hybrid between 35mm and 85mm. I thoroughly enjoy the 50mm because it's that perfect middle in between. We can still get a little bit of environment, but the 50mm just adds a lot more depth of field, but not too much depth of field that the 85mm focal length has. And obviously with the being 85 focal length, it kind of limits you because it's so shallow of a depth of field and it's so shallow in the focal length. So 50mm is a perfect hybrid between 35 and 85. So that's why I thoroughly enjoyed the 50mm focal length over everything. And once again, it's a Sigma lens, so it's going to be high quality glass. Just love the 50mm focal length. The Sigma lens and the focal length, 1.4 aperture, once again, amazing. Still going on the 1.4 aperture. This is the oddball. They don't even make these anymore. This is the Sam Gang. This is an RF mount 85mm 1.4 lens. I've had this lens for just over 3 years now. It's 85mm. It's telephoto. It's a semi-telephoto lens. It's shallow depth of field 1.4 aperture. I tend not to go down that much because like it's so shallow of depth of field, especially with the focal length. But when it comes to the pinch, when it's damn near dark, that 1.4 aperture is definitely going to be used. It's definitely going to come in clutch. But the 85mm is a nice standard portrait lens. If I want to get headshots, if I want to get any like nice shallow depth of field, with the most intense shallow depth of field I can get for the lowest aperture that I can get, the Samyang 85 RF 85mm focal lens is the one I'm going to choose. So those are all the primes I'm going to bring. The next is going to be 2 zoom lenses. The first one is going to be the Sigma 24-70. I've had this just about a year or so now. Yeah, just even a couple weeks, over a year at this point that I've had this lens. Obviously, it's a zoom lens for the 24-70, perfect focal length to get all the essential focal lengths. Like I mentioned, I got the 35 prime, I got a 50 prime. 85mm is obviously not in the focal length of the 24-70, but it's get close. The 24mm is essential to get wider than the standard 35, and the f2.8 aperture is obviously not like a 1.4 or 2.0, but it does get the job done, and it gets you through most situations. And obviously, it's a telephoto lens is a 24-70, so it's going to get you through most situations where you need to get wide and just a little bit tighter. But if I need to get even further, the 70mm, I got the Canon 7200. This is the f4 version. I didn't have enough money to get the 2.8 version, which I don't think I need the 2.8 version essentially enough, because I don't think I use this lens enough to get the 2.8. But I've had that lens for almost a year now. I think it'll be a year in October. I essentially got that before I did my first like sports videography shoot, sports photography shoot for my former college, the College of New Jersey. You can kind of see the Letterman jacket off to the corner there. So when I went there last year, I used that lens as I needed a telephoto lens because 70 millimeters is not enough to cover a football field. 200 is sometimes not even enough, but it will definitely get the job done. So that's why I have that, and that's definitely going to be essential because I'm going to be a second shooter. So I got to be off to the side, going to be off to the distance as well, and also I can share it with the lead photographer as he uses the Canon R5. So it's going to be good that we can switch lenses with one another. And if he needs a 7200, I got that for him, or vice versa. He has a lens that I might want to use. We can just always go hand to hand. So the 7200 is going to definitely be essential to be off to the side and get, if I need to be further away, get a different focal length. That's primary position of being the second photographer, is being off to the side. I mean, getting a secondary angle that a single photographer cannot get. So the 7200 is going to be there to wrap it up. So we got the Sigma 35 millimeter, the Sigma 50 millimeter, we got the Samyang RF mount 85 millimeter. Then behind that we got the 24 to 70, once again by Sigma. Thoroughly enjoy Sigma. Sigma did hurry up make full frame lenses for the RF mount, and then to wrap it up, we got the Canon 70 to 200, also RF mount, but it's the f4 version, not the f2.8 version, because we ain't got that much money. I know there's a lot of money on the table here, but I ain't got that much money. And that kind of wraps up the primary things. Obviously, gonna need plenty of batteries. I have some filters, from ND filters to polarizers to specialty filters. So I got plenty of those. Chargers, you're gonna have to bring that. I got camera straps like the Peak Design. You can see the Peak Design tabs off to the side of my camera, so that's gonna be essential for the camera straps. I got a dual harness I'm gonna wear because when I got the dual harness last year, what I got it for is for events. So we're gonna be using that all day tomorrow. At the time of recording this, once again, this is the day before of us second shooting a wedding. So yeah, it's gonna be a plethora of essentials, from headphones to extra batteries to some light stands. Obviously, bringing those as well. But those are like the main primary gear, from the camera bodies to the lenses and accessories is always gonna come in tandem. But definitely comment down below what you think about my camera bag. What's your camera bag? Are you Team Sony, Team Canon, Team Nikon? Nikon blown out the water. Sony taking over the game. Every creator switching over to Sony. I've seen this for the last few years. Got me tempted because Canon is that Canon. Canon just hold back his cameras, man. I don't know why they do that, but they hold back the cameras. Sony says, creators, what do y'all want? We won't give you what I want. That's tempting me. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Being a Canon shooter is tempting to switch over to Sony, but I'm holding strong. I don't know how long I can hold, but I'm holding strong. But definitely comment down below what you think of my camera bag and what's in your camera bag for 2024. So, if you enjoyed the video, I got more content like this always coming soon, so please subscribe. Man, it's been a long time since I did it once on my camera bag. It's been a long time, but I'm excited to keep doing this. Like I mentioned earlier, and I teased it earlier in the video, definitely going to be talking about the camera rig that we're using on for the Blackmagic 6K Pro, because I got that earlier this year, and I've been thoroughly enjoying that camera because it's high quality video, as you can see right now. But until then, I see y'all next video. Peace.